Welcome back to Nearly 90's, everyone. I think it's episode 14?
Yes,
14 now.
14.
And this is kind of following up with our last one with What's the Best Hulk?
Yes. Yeah. And I know I can't remember what we fully settled on, who was our favorites. I know mine was Eric Bana, but I know we definitely wanted to dive deeper into the 70s Hulk show.
Because that's the only one I didn't have much of an opinion on because I hadn't seen it. So
Yes.
you loaned me the whole series of The Incredible Hulk,
Yes.
the original series.
And for the most part, we're just going to be talking about season 1. I mean, first off, I guess for this we can kind of go over not really episodes, but I think we should definitely cover the first pilot episode just kind of in depth a little bit too.
Yeah, so that one is, I'm pulling these up because there are some episodes that I wanted to make sure I remembered to talk about.
Cool.
So I guess, yeah, starting with the pilot, I was surprised. I mean, first of all, that what's his name that plays David Banner?
Bill Bixby?
Bill Bixby. I was drawing a blank. He does such a good job.
Dude, he is so amazing.
He is such a good actor, honestly, and for the fact that I wouldn't say the show is like low in quality at all. I mean,
No.
from today's standards, it might look a little low in quality, but compared to the quality of the whole series with his acting, it's like this man is so overqualified for this.
Yes. And I believe, like, personally, this show I don't think would work without Bill Bixby.
No. Especially like the white eyes and like
Oh,
the effect.
yeah.
Yeah, when he turns into Hulk, it's such an odd choice to make his eyes turn white instead of like a pure green.
Yeah, no, I always loved the idea of that because it just looked so different. And, there was that, it was always the point of no return, when you saw the eyes. And I loved that.
Yeah, so the first episode pilot, what I remember the most about it was being kind of surprised that it's not mostly about him trying to control his rage with, oh man, I'm already losing her name, the scientist that he has a thing for. Elena, yeah. He has a relationship. Well, is it established that they have a relationship?
So they kind of have like a friendship that it started. It seems like they've been friends since they were little kids because like he even references like, my mom liked you, or like my mom always liked you.
Yeah.
So that was always referenced. But I mean, he did lose his wife, David Banner did, in what, like a...
Oh, yeah, that's
like
his
a car
motivation.
accident?
That's his
Yeah.
motivation at the beginning. So he's trying to figure out what gives people the ability to unlock like an inner strength during moments of stress, because I think it's his wife that dies in a car wreck. He can't flip the car up is what I believe the issue is. So he has a whole study of people that go through something very similar, almost to the point where it's like, how the fuck did you find like 8 different people that had their spouse or a significant other die in a car crash? But these people actually managed to lift up the car because of what is supposedly some kind of unlocked inner strength that he didn't have. And his conclusion is they gain the inner strength because of a spike in gamma radiation at the times that their accidents happen, but he didn't have a spike then. Mm-hmm. So he thinks surely that has to be the reason, which is why he does the super scientific way of going about things, very professional, and he decides to crank the knob to 11 and give himself super gamma radiation.
I love that because he cranks it all the way to the white tape.
Yeah.
It's not even marked, man.
Like, he could have actually just given him strength. Like, he could have given himself moderate super strength.
Or cancer.
And,
one of the two.
He could have proven a huge scientific breakthrough, but instead he just decides to crank the knob all the way to 11 just to, like, I guess full send. Like, well, let's see if I get really strong.
Right. And I do love how they root it in somewhat reality, like the idea of like, oh well, why are these people strong on these sort of days? And just like, whoa, okay, no, that definitely makes sense with like gamma rays just being higher in those days comparatively to other days. Such a cool way of going about it.
Yeah, I can appreciate a sci-fi flick. I mean, I'm not scientifically inclined at all. I don't know fucking anything about science past like
I'm with you there.
Past like sophomore chemistry or something. But I can at least appreciate when a show goes like all in on like it's scientific bullshit where it's like it's really trying to make it make sense scientifically, even though obviously it doesn't. But.
Right. And then, I mean, what about the first Hulk out? What'd you think of that?
Is that when he's in? No, that's not when he's in the cage. When is the first time he hulks out?
He's driving home in the
rain.
Oh,
the tire iron or something like that. And I thought it was almost kind of silly that that's what made him turn. I thought if anything, maybe like if he cut himself or fell, but I think it's kind of like he just gets enraged from like the frustration doing his car.
He does like hit his knuckles on the ground, and I think it's not shown, I think, the best because there's so much rain and everything's going on. But yeah, that's pretty much what's supposed to happen is he slips off and hits his knuckles on the ground. Yeah. And that's what triggers it.
Yeah, the first transformation I remember being all right. I mean, it was cool. If anything, in the first episode, I remember more fondly when he's in the cage and he turns, or if you'd call it the cage, he's in that little the containment cell thing. Yeah, and he breaks out of there. That was really cool. That was really memorable.
I did like that. I did like them actually like going and studying up on like, you know, trying to figure out what's going on with David Banner. And then well, we didn't even talk about him yet, but what's his name? Jack McGee?
Yeah. The reporter.
I love him as just like a character. Just like always just right behind the Hulk and just never fully getting to see him.
Yeah, he can't. Well, I mean, he sees him a couple times in season one.
But
I mean, episode 1, that's where his whole motivation starts. I think he sees him 3 more times in season 1. But even then, it's pretty brief. He sure should. Well, he gets close to seeing Banner plenty of times.
Oh, yeah.
Never sees him. Never sees him.
Yeah, it is wild how many times, like, they'll just be walking on the street together or something crazy, and then he's just like, oh, cover up my face.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, if anything, the end of the pilot, the only thing that really threw me for a bit of a loop was the fact that he's on the run so early on, because I mean it's episode 1, he's already on the run, and then that's kind of setting up for what I didn't realize was the whole plot of the show. Basically, it's just always him on the run. I thought we'd at least get like a few episodes to like a half season of like because it'd be interesting still to see that what if plot line instead if he was like trying to manage it for a while with that scientist and keeping it a secret. But no, we go straight into you are presumed dead and hiding, or as I want to say an outlaw, but the thing is, like, what do they really explain why he's running other than like he's trying to hide the Hulk from the rest of the world, and also I think he's afraid that he's going to be blamed for her death, the girl's death.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any evidence to support that he or the monster didn't commit those actions.
Yeah.
That I think that's pretty much the like reason he's on the run now.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, can't you just be like, hey, I didn't die?
Yeah, I mean, you could just debatably, you could be afraid that you're going to be a lab rat the rest of your life. Because you could just be like, look I can turn into this giant thing, and I didn't kill her. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it would be hard to explain, so I see why. Screw it, I would go on the run.
And then it sets up the whole rest of I don't know if it's going to be the whole series because I've only seen most of season 1.
Pretty much.
Where it just turns into a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure one-off episode every time where this guy cannot stop running into the mob, gangs. He is a magnet for the worst possible people. He's a magnet for the most stereotyped thugs and gangsters. Every single episode, it is someone getting too involved with like a mob that David is working for. Well, he's not working for the mob. Let me reiterate that. I didn't phrase that properly. So it always starts with David working for someone as like an odd job to keep a low profile. And then whoever he's working for has some involvement, whether they're evil or not, with some shady organization or people that he's always too good of a guy, so he gets involved with. And then they make him Hulk out, and then he wrecks their shit. He makes everyone, the whole press sees the Hulk. McGee comes, he runs. That's the end of every episode, or not even the end. That's just every episode.
It's a lot of the episodes is that, which it does kind of get a little like repetitive after a while, but eventually once you watch, I mean, I could see why you don't want to watch every episode. I can try and give you like a list of like the good episodes to watch.
I mean, I'm a person, even if something sucks, I have to see it through.
You gotta see it through.
I will suffer through series even if they're bad. I mean, like I watched all of Naruto, man. I watch all of the like really shitty Japanese movies just because like I like to watch. Well, when I say that, I mean like kaiju shit, like Godzilla, Gamera, and shit like that. Even the really bad ones, because I just want to do the completionist thing of it. It feels like, I don't know, because even if you don't enjoy a movie or a show, it's like it just feels like cheating if you just skip to the parts that you like the most, or that someone says is like, oh, these are the only good ones. It's like, well, I mean, I want to just see everything, bad shit and all.
I guess it's not. Like, the stories that they're telling aren't horrible by all means. I mean, they're kind of, they do run the same formula.
But they're just becoming reskins.
They do become reskins in some regards, but they do interesting things where, I know in season 2, you get to see the bride of the Incredible Hulk. So that's a really fun episode. I know there's a couple good ones where, actually, like, Jack McGee gets really close to seeing
the Hulk,
Hulk, or well, I guess David Banner himself. Yeah. So, and man, I think, is it season 3 or season 4? It might be season 5, but they do bring in some really cool elements, and he messes with the army a little bit too. Okay. And like NASA, which is wild. So there's some really cool episodes that start coming together later on.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think now, because we were going to go over, like, likes and dislikes. I think, like, dislikes, there's not anything too crazy other than, like we're saying, it's just the repetitiveness of it. It's not like any of the episodes are inherently bad. No. I mean, some of the acting's is corny and all that, but again, like
that's kind of just what they did in the 70s.
Yeah, and again, it's only real like downside is the fact that you just kind of see the same plot reused over and over. But again, like there's not really anything that crazy to really trash, or there's no reason to really dislike it for any other reason. I mean, you could say maybe the Hulk's design is a little goofy, but
yeah, the Hulk does look wild.
If anything, it's just. I don't think like all the wig and face prosthetic is necessary. You could have just painted Lou Ferrigno and call it a day.
You definitely could have. He didn't need a whole
with the flexing and the voiceover of like the monster noises and all that. Like I think it would have been fine like that. And
he didn't need the giant eyebrows, the big forehead.
It's cool when they do that prosthetics for like the transformation phases though.
Yes,
that looks nice. That's cool.
The morphing between it, was always something that did intrigue me about the show is when they showed like the transformation.
I just don't think the weird glow was always necessary. No. The weird like from today's standards just looks like an image pasted over his face of like the glowing green. Because I mean you could have just done like one shot, face looks a little starting to get kind of messed up. Next shot, it's a little more messed up, and then vice versa when he's going back.
I'm sure the idea was that his whole body is supposed to be kind of glowing.
Yeah, from the gamma radiation is glowing. Yeah,
but you know, I don't see anything inherently wrong with it, other than I guess like fading between the transformations is a little like when it's just one shot after the next. Yeah. When, you kind of add like a person staring at it and then he transforms back a little bit more every time. I think it works a little bit more tastefully then.
Yeah. I suppose the only other thing that I can think of for a dislike would be, and this is still added to just the corniness of the acting and all that for the time, but everyone's so fucking stupid that they can't realize that David's the Hulk. There's so many times, like the one of the last episodes in the season where they have him literally trapped by himself in a container, and then the Hulk breaks out, and they're like, "Where'd that guy come from?" It's like there's no fucking way it could have been anyone but David that turned into the Hulk in that.
Yeah. Oh no, it is wild how
there's some switcheroos, but that one's just like that one's plain as day. It could have just only been him,
Or like when he's, I guess Let me pose this. What was your favorite episode, I guess, of the first season then?
I like one of the earlier on ones. It might have just been episode 2 where he's on like the rich person's property because
Death in the family.
That's the campfire scene.
Yes.
That's the. Was there an alligator scene?
There was a
bear. There was a bear,
and it was a real bear.
It was a real bear, and I love that scene. There's 2 things I really like about episode 2. I think it's episode 2.
Yes, it's kind of like a second pilot, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the campfire scene where the Hulk is running through like the dark woods in the middle of the night. There's like some old, really stereotypical, you'd expect him like to be drinking out of an XXX jug or something. He's sitting there. Do you just have like chicken on the fire?
He has chicken on a stick.
Yeah, chicken on a stick. He gives it to the Hulk, and it's also one of the first times
someone interacts with the Hulk.
Very, very much interacts with him, because a lot of the times after that, people just kind of talk to him, and that's what he even says too. He's like, well, I'd more talk to him, not talk with him.
Right.
But where like someone actually takes the time to just like see if he'll respond back to him.
Right.
And they sit down and have this interaction. It's almost kind of nice. He gives him the chicken, and I love that line where he eats the entire chicken, and you hear the crunching of the bones, and he just goes, bones and all. He ate the whole thing, bones and all.
Dude, I love his little song that he's singing.
Yeah.
Gonna drink all night, gonna drink all day.
Yeah, and then of course... Then, of course, we know that it goes sideways when he gives him liquor.
Oh, yeah.
And then he spits it on the fire and scares himself when it ignites more.
Oh, no. That is one of my, like, favorite, I guess, like, because I guess there's, like, 2 things that the Hulk does. Is he smashes and fights people in scenes.
Yeah.
And then he has weird interactions where he's just, like, just kind of looking around, just like, huh?
Yeah.
What? What's going on?
Yeah, and then the other memorable part of that episode is the bear fight. Or
the bear fight.
He's fighting, I think it's like a grizzly bear, but they're fighting in like the marshes or something like that, like in a swamp. And it's just Lou Ferrigno wrestling with a bear in the water. And you can even see the paint of the Hulk on Lou Ferrigno just coming off as they're fighting, and they just don't care. It's just the green seeping all over the water in the scene, and they're still just going at it.
Yeah,
and then at the end, doesn't he do like a thing where he whips it, and it's like a prosthetic bear,
throws it into
like
the
a
air.
plushie.
One of the cool things about that, I heard Lou Ferrigno talking about that scene. They're like, was that a real bear? And he's like, yeah. I fought a real bear. He said, I was in the water for 2 days wrestling a bear.
Yeah, that was really good. It was such a memorable moment.
Absolutely.
People would send me that as like gifts all the time, of like the Hulk wrestling a bear. And I'm like, I've seen that now. I have the full context.
No, and it is one of my favorite. That is probably one of my favorite things. I think he fights a gorilla, doesn't he, as well?
Yes, that was going to be my other episode that I brought up, was when he's working with like a zoologist at a zoo, and I think it's testing like aggression in animals.
Yeah.
And then it's also, the scientist is piggybacking off of David Banner's research with gamma radiation. And then they have this guy in a gorilla suit that's playing just what's supposed to be a real life gorilla, and it's ridiculous but hilarious at the same time.
It is wild that they're like, hey, we don't have enough. We had enough for the bear. We got to get a guy in a suit for this one though.
Part of me thinks though that like you could train a bear to kind of play fight someone. I feel like you could do that with a gorilla, but part of me feels like an ape's natural instincts is they just start to rip you apart.
That is fair.
With a wrong move, you know?
That is true. They're probably a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, I think there is a higher chance, honestly, that a full-size gorilla would just like snap out of nowhere and just
that's true.
Kill someone. But I remember that episode being so goofy too. I'm trying to remember. I know they fight in the cage at one point, the Hulk and the gorilla.
Yes.
But I'm trying to remember if there's any other moments with the animals that were. I guess there's the wolf's den, where he wakes up. It's he hulks out one night, and when he wakes up, he's Banner again, but he's in like a wolf's den, because he sees like a little dog in his lap or something like that. He's like,
oh
hey,
no, it was a tiger.
oh, was it a tiger?
I think it was like a tiger or a cheetah or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a lion, something crazy. But yeah, no, that was from the same episode.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, oh, dude, this cat is amazing.
Then he looks up and he sees like a full-grown tiger hovering over him. He's like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. That was a good moment though. Same with that whole episode, just super goofy, but I like it a lot.
No, that was a fun one. They kept it very contained to a zoo, and I like that. Putting them in that kind of setting. I guess one of my favorite episodes. I do like the New York episode.
I like the Hulk out.
Just
set up for that.
Yeah, just in New York, I think was just really cool to see. And then his little like green slippers he wore. Because he didn't want to get his feet into the nasty fucking New York streets.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like Lou Ferrigno?
Yeah.
A part of me remembers kind of seeing him wear like some kind of loafer shoes. Is that what he's wearing? Like that are painted green?
It's probably something of that sort.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did the same thing for Superman. I just grabbed like slipper shoes and just popped them on. So hey, fair enough. You don't want to get your feet dirty.
I remember that episode for the scene where when he hulks out, I think is the most memorable, when he is taking forever. Like he gets in the taxi, like follow that car. It's like, we're in New York City, bro. Like it's gonna be like 30 minutes before we even move.
And then ran and caught up to it.
And then he hulks out just from like being enraged of a New York taxi driver, and that's all it took.
I love this is also just something with Bruce or David Banner as a character in this. Just the fact of like how angry he can get at just anything just to transform. When
he gets mad, he gets sometimes like David Banner sounds scarier than the Hulk. When he starts screaming, he's actually like, it's scary.
There's and I hate bringing up the other seasons because we're talking about season 1, but there's a episode where he's trying to cure himself and he like kind of goes evil.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because he's just maniacally laughing into his hands, and it's just so crazy, and he's crying too. And I'm like, holy shit! If I could see this guy, I could see this guy playing the Joker, which is like wild. Seeing that in like a Hulk actor, I guess.
Yeah, he's not alive anymore, right?
No. Sadly, he passed away. I think in the 90s or 2000 from, I think, testicular cancer.
Okay, because I was going to say, if he was alive now, I could see him being old, but not like... It seems like unless some kind of disease or something like that would have taken him, or an accident, like, because he would have been like old now, but I wouldn't imagine he would have been dead of just standard old age at this point.
No, I know. I shouldn't talk about that. Well, I could.
What?
I know before he died, he wanted to make one more Hulk movie. Because he made one called The Death of the Incredible Hulk.
Was he making them all the way up to the point where he died?
Yes.
Oh shit! So he wasn't even that old when he died.
No.
Okay.
He was probably maybe 40, 50.
Okay, so he really wasn't even like, he wasn't like, oh, I'm done playing the Hulk, and then like some decades passed and then he died.
No. He could have been dealing with the cancer while like finishing up the last movie kind of deal, I think. Don't quote me on that because I could be very wrong about it, but I do know that he died, but he wanted to make another movie where the Hulk came back, but he had the mind of David Banner, which was effectively Smart Hulk. Yeah. So he was going to try and build to that point, but it was just weird to think of, like, because in that one, I think he also wanted to have Spider-Man cameo in it.
Oh, okay. Well, in the comics, they would have had Professor Hulk at the time, so they could have taken that for inspiration. It would have been cool to see a well done Professor Hulk.
Absolutely,
not modern Marvel Professor Hulk.
Oh God, we don't got to bring up Mark Ruffalo right now.
I remember because I think during the Infinity Gauntlet saga in the comics, not the movies, but in the comics, I think during the Infinity War, Infinity Saga stuff. Excuse me. I think Hulk is Professor Hulk at that moment.
Okay.
Because I remember reading that because they have reprints for it all the time. I still have them, and
Right.
I remember him and Wolverine having an interaction, and it's just like he's wearing, well, I mean, very dated now, like I think the 80s. Wait, Infinity Gauntlet might be 80s, I think. I think. But he's wearing very 80s attire, but he's wearing like normal human clothes. He's having just a normal conversation with Wolverine, not talking like me Hulk type shit. Like he's just talking like a normal person to Wolverine, albeit he's like still has the attitude and pissiness of the Hulk.
Right.
But I'm like, I think that's kind of meant to be Professor Hulk.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, because when he's like intelligent enough to just not go around being pissy, smashing everything, but you know, like he has like a personality of his own, but he's still pissy and like angry,
right?
Because he's the Hulk.
It is something. Yeah, I really wish they could have done so much better with Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
And I think it would also still be cool. I would love to see. Have you seen the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man show from the 70s?
Is that the live action one?
Yes.
I've seen clips of it.
So
I really want to see the Japanese one.
Nicholas Hammond was supposed to reprise his role as Spider-Man.
That one didn't do very well, did it? That's where he has the very circular eyes.
Yes,
yeah.
It didn't do as well as its Japanese counterpart of the time, but I still think it's an interesting show for what they tried to do. But I know they were gonna. Now this is also speculation, but I think they were gonna try and work towards doing the black suit Spider-Man in that Hulk episode, or movie kind of deal.
So he wanted to have one more movie with Spider-Man crossing over to introduce the black suit.
I think so. And hey, I could very well be wrong and mixing up my information.
It'd be very interesting to see that somehow incorporated in a Hulk movie of all times. You know,
I mean, you probably haven't seen the Daredevil one yet, but I mean, once you see
Daredevil movie,
yes,
which one?
There's a Hulk Daredevil crossover movie.
I remember, because that's when he's wearing the black suit from the original suit from the comics.
And then there's also one with Thor too.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of clips of that with Thor stuff. I always forget that Daredevil's in it too.
Yes. Yeah. It's a double feature. Once you finish the series, I'm gonna give you those movies.
Are all the movies all after the whole show? Okay,
yes.
okay, that's easier to digest that way, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, personally, when I want to rewatch the series, I go for all the pilot movies.
Yeah.
Then I watch the actual Hulk. I think it's Incredible Hulk Returns, and then the Trial of the Incredible Hulk, and then it's Death of the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
So, a very long running series, to be honest.
Yeah. So.
But I kind of veered off course a little bit. I was kind of talking about my favorite episodes.
It was still working with, like, the mentioning of, like, even though Spider-Man it's a different topic, it's still like it was meant to be part of the Hulk.
Oh, so
it has context with it.
For sure. I know another episode I really liked was when he went to Vegas. I thought that was really cool because that's actually when, I believe by the end of that episode, McGee is like direct contact with the Hulk. Like he's like trying to talk to the Hulk, and he's like, "Do you remember David Banner?" And then
that's when they're out in like they're being held captive, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really cool because I was like, "Holy crap! Is he gonna?" This was back when I was a kid and still like first watching the show. I was like, "Holy crap!
He's gonna spill his beans.
He's gonna spill his beads." Oh no! And then he gets shot, and then it's like, "Oh, okay, bye Hulk."
Yeah.
But that was another good one. Another one that just comes to mind was, I don't know if he was in New Orleans or something like that, but I know he's working at a bar, and there was like a bar fight.
That's the one that I just watched. So the only one I haven't watched is the last episode in this season, but the one before that, it's what city are they in? I don't think they really put much emphasis on what city it is, but yeah, it's when he's working at a bar. It's the whole thing about like some politicians wanting what is it? They want someone's widowed wife to like help them out with like the election or something like that.
And that widowed wife is David Banner's boss, I think.
Yeah. And they're dating because David also is a pussy magnet in the whole show.
That is also another thing about David Banner. He is just a player, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild because, like, this man's getting so much ass comparatively to, like, Hulk now, where Hulk just can't even have sex anymore.
Yeah, now they just make him...
They just make him
Yeah.
incompetent. Whatever, though, you know, at least David Banner's cool and can bag chicks.
It's because now they turn it into that heart rate thing. Where it's more like, I can't get excited. Where back then it was very much just tied to the rage emotion as opposed to like just getting worked up.
Yeah, that's also something that I don't generally hate about the Hulk, but I know is like, well, you know, it's supposed to be anger.
Yeah.
It's supposed to get angry, not running for a half mile and turns into the Hulk.
I think the only reason it veered off from anger for a live action setting is because, excuse me, Jesus, was because you can measure something like a heart rate much more easily, and the audience can have much more suspense, and they can physically see, like, what's it, the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah.
He has a heart rate monitor watch thing. I think he states what the number has to get to for him to turn into the Hulk.
It's like 200
and
or
then
something like that.
There is like I wouldn't call it a ticking clock. I mean, people use it all the time for suspense in TV show and movies. It's not technically a ticking clock, but it's something very similar where we watch it go up and it builds suspense. Seeing that number tick up builds suspense.
Right.
And you can't necessarily do that with rage, or you can, but it's far less like amped up as opposed to watching it in real time, like, oh, it's about to happen. Whereas, like, you know, when he's just angry, it can just happen at any time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, that's I get why to do it. And I guess it is like another kind of like aspect cinematically that's gonna just help, like, oh man, it's gonna happen. He's gonna change. But yeah, I can't think of anything else that like I disliked about the show. Oh, I liked the episode in the plane. What was it, 737
That was cool,
or whatever?
Where you had like a scenario where you put Hulk in a box, like literally, like he can't
leave.
much. Yeah, he can't do much in there, or he'll fall off or die or something.
Again though, it does just have a generic plot though.
Yeah, in the end they always do.
There's some evil people on this plane. I do love just the amount of drugs, just sleeping pills that this chick just pours into coffee. I'm like, holy shit.
And crushed up too. That would hit you so much harder and faster.
Oh my god. I couldn't imagine just like zooted off of the sleeping pills just trying to fly a plane.
I do like the ending of that one too, where they rely on Banner to land the plane. Someone's scratching at the door. One of the cats. But yeah, I like how Banner himself has to land the plane.
Yeah.
And then kind of near the end where it's something where there's something that's malfunctioning, and they say the only way you can like save this plane is if you pull up hard enough, but something's broken, and the only way he does is through the Hulk strength kind of seeping back in.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. It made it really exciting because, I mean, you don't know if that plane's gonna crash or not.
I mean, he could survive turning into the Hulk when it crashes, but
yeah, but either way, like, that's still like, oh my god, imagine just being on that flight. Screw that. And then just tripping balls, seeing the Hulk just come out of the pilot's cabinet, just, what's up? I'm the Hulk. I landed the plane, guys. Just screaming.
Doesn't he run out of the, like, don't they like bring out the, what do you call it, the little inflatable slide thing at the end? And doesn't the Hulk just like jump out?
No, I think he just kicks open like the side
he
door,
just pushes
just
out
jumps
the door. Yeah,
just runs away. I love how Hulk just runs away. And this is all right. You know what? This is something that I think they didn't really need to do for the Hulk. Most of the time when you see the Hulk and he's doing like a big grandiose move, it's very slow motion-y. If you kind of notice.
Yeah.
And it gets better with the movies that come later on, but that's something that I noticed very, like, with the early on seasons, is there's a lot of just boom, and then you'll see him just like slowly throw someone. Or
the jumping.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like maybe just speeding it up might just help.
Yeah.
But
I think they could be doing the method of, it's more for like larger monster movies where there's always an art to it that people describe of like how you do it for the sake of cinematography, where, well, it's that and sound design and all this shit, but it's like, it's for like larger scale, like say like kaiju movies, they'll be like, make sure that things move slowly, that you give stuff a sense of scale, a sense of weight. Like, it's like when you're watching like Godzilla go through a city or something like that, it would pull you out of it if he's sprinting at the speed of like a human being, and if there wasn't any like loud thudding or crashing. Like, that's why you see a lot of like movies. Cloverfield's always a huge example of that, where down low perspectives at a moderate pace, so you see plenty of like the sense of scale compared to a person, because we relate to that. That's our perspective. And then stuff moving slowly, because something that massive would not move at a brisk pace.
Right.
And then just obviously the Foley and sound effects that go with it to give that very deep sound of like, you know, if a giant fist suddenly slammed on the pavement, it was going to probably be very bassy, have a lot of like ringing to it, stuff like that. But I mean, maybe they're following that same method for the Hulk, even if it's
probably what they were
even
doing.
if it's not necessary for something that size. Like, sure, he's big and hulking, but he's not a giant.
No. I don't even think like Lou Ferrigno was that. Like, I mean, he's a tall guy, but he's not like super tall.
I think he's like maybe, I don't know, like 6'7" or something, which is very large for the average person. But still, like, he's not a giant.
No, and I think they were gonna use, what was it? The Jaws actor from James Bond.
Okay,
is that the guy? The really tall guy. He had like the metal teeth or whatever.
Remember that. I don't remember a lot of like older James Bond stuff.
I know he originally got the role for Hulk.
Okay.
So before Lou Ferrigno, and they shot some of the pilot episode with him. And in some of the shots, you can actually see him. Like one of the big ones is there's a shot like looking down the tree in the pilot episode, like the tree that he's about to save the girl that fell in the water.
Yeah.
Like, I believe...
Very
like
Frankenstein moment.
Yeah, like, it's like looking down the tree and you see the monster. That is...
the other actor.
The other actor.
Okay.
But, yeah, I believe that, like, even, like, the actor himself is like, well, I'm tall. I'm not, like, strong. I don't look buff. So then they went with Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
I mean... It would be just weird just seeing just a really tall man comparatively.
You need the mass just as much as the height.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I see why you go Lou Ferrigno. Rightfully so. I mean, do we really talk about Lou Ferrigno too much? Like, I mean, for the most part, I think he kills it as the Hulk.
Yeah, he does all he needs to be honest.
Yeah.
It sounds insulting to say like he doesn't need to act in it, because he does. Yeah. Because my first thought is like, oh, well, he's not acting in it. He is. I mean, like, body language is just as important as normal acting, but he does all he needs to do in it. He looks ripped and menacing and scary when he needs to, and obviously, again, like, even though it might not age that well, he looks kind of silly in comparison now. You have to put yourself kind of in those shoes of that scenario in real life, of just like, you see this fucking like over 6'5" green monster growling at you and flexing its muscles. Do you think he does a good job of being scary in that scenario? Sure.
Dude, absolutely he does. Oh, could you imagine if Lou Ferrigno was painted red for this?
Yeah, we've talked about that before, that they wanted to make him red.
I couldn't imagine that.
That was before Red Hulk was a character.
Yeah, before Red Hulk.
Which now they're doing that for their own thing. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh god. I have problems with Red Hulk just in general.
The Harrison Ford one that they're doing. Yeah.
I just want to see Hulk again.
Yeah.
That's just the big thing. Just give me a Hulk movie where Hulk fights some Hulk villains and doesn't train She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress.
Well, I mean, that could be a pretty good spot to leave it for now. I guess it would just be like overall consensus of season 1. I think it's good. I'll keep watching it. I would watch it faster, but when I tried to watch it normally, like, so from my perspective, I live with my girlfriend.
Right.
She she likes some corny movies and shit like that, and TV shows and dumb shit. Like I can suffer through, and that's saying like if it's bad, it's not that bad. I've watched fucking way cornier and poorly aged stuff than the Hulk. But like if something's really goofy or just really aged poorly, I can sit there and find the fun in it.
Right.
But she can only get to a certain point. Like she can only get to a certain level before she's like, this is fucking stupid. I don't want to watch this. So it's been my exclusive like Saturday morning. On the weekend, I wake up and watch the Hulk with breakfast. And that's where I've been slowly whittling it down. So I'm getting there.
Well, I mean, personally, that's probably how most of the people actually saw the
used
show
to watch
back
it,
in the 70s.
Once a week. It was a once a week thing, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
How they'd air it once a week with your Saturday morning cartoons or something like that. Watch the Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's not a horrible way to go about doing it, though.
I couldn't do that for all my shows, though. There's some people that do that for everything they watch, and I think it's fucking...
No.
I think those people are psychopaths now.
No. I get where you're coming from.
I know people that will watch, like, a single episode of, like, a Netflix show once a week. I can do, like, once a night, like, one episode a night with, like, my dinner or some shit. But, like, I knew a buddy back when the Marvel Netflix stuff was coming out and all that. Like, we were watching Daredevil, and I'd ask him, like, what he thought of, like, the end of the season. And he's like, oh, I'm on episode 2. I watch one episode a week. Like, oh, my gosh.
Wild.
Like, how do you get through... Like, there's so much pop culture and shows out there. How do you get through it?
Right.
You've watched maybe, like, fucking, what, like 15 shows in your life?
That's crazy. I couldn't imagine doing that all the time, though. No, I couldn't.
It's too easily accessible. Well, not even that. It's just there's too much to watch now. Where you're like, more like a checklist where you're like, I want to see so many shows and get my opinion on so many different things that are out there. But yeah, anyways, yeah.
Personally, I absolutely still love this show. Season 1 is very holds a dear place in my heart still. I got like the first season of Incredible Hulk just like on DVD as when I was like probably 8 or 9, and it just jump started everything, and I was like, dude, this show is so good, just so freaking good. And of course, I mean, like, there is really good filmmaking involved in this. Like, I guess from a writer's standpoint, like, you can kind of see how this show kind of I guess kept getting another season after other season just because they had a good formula. They had a great actor. They had 2 great actors in the roles of David Banner and the Hulk. And what can I say? The Hulk is fun.
Yeah, it's a fun series, and I think it's a good precursor to more serious superhero stuff, because a lot of people say that superhero stuff got to the point where like, oh, this can actually be serious movies during the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man stuff.
Yes.
That's like one of its biggest jumping off points of like, oh, superhero shit can be like good for mainstream audiences.
Right.
Like sure like older stuff people would still think it's good, but it was also still in that like subgenre of like, this is just some really low budget nerdy shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then early 2000s that really came out as like, oh, this can be really mainstream and good.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's a good precursor to it.
Like even thinking about like other superhero shows that came out around this time, the Hulk was doing the best out of all of them.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I mean. Like with it being a precursor, like sure, it wasn't at that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man level by any means, but like other shows like that Spider-Man show, we mentioned it, but that show did really poorly. They had like, was it that canceled Fantastic Four movie that didn't even come out?
Yep, there was a couple Captain America movies that came out.
Those are really rough. I would still watch the Hulk over those.
Right.
Yeah, it's just for the stuff that was out at the time, it was definitely another jumping off point to that next step in making superhero shit more serious.
Yes, absolutely. And I think is a pretty good spot to leave us off. Guys, What do you guys think of Hulk? Do you guys like the 70s Hulk show? Let us know in the comments. Of course, we got all of our social media stuff and whatnot down in the down in the description below. And be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button, guys.
Yep, share our stuff around. We're trying. We're gonna make some shorts and stuff. Try to get some more views and get some new people in. We've been doing this for a while, and sometimes it's kind of hard to get new people in with shorts.
Right.
So, but yeah, y'all share this. Let everyone know. We'll be back posting a lot more recently. So
yeah,
y'all have a good one, guys.
Deuces.